I've removed now the bottom panel from the cabinet. There it is, just retained by 4 wood screws, and the underside looks much more encouraging, not as grotty as the top. And what I'm looking for at the moment are signs of work that's been done to the set during its life. And I have to say that nothing appears to have been disturbed at all. I see no replacement components. All those components, these capacitors here, these are all standard components used by EMI in the days when these sets were made. Now, there'll be some of these things that will need replacing, but we'll come to that when we've got the thing out of the cabinet. One thing I do, because otherwise you can soon end up with a huge box of screws and bits, it's just a thing I do, is that I put screws back where they belong, even though I know I shall have to take them out again later to put the set back together. But that does mean at least I won't end up with a box full of odd screws and then later have to wonder where they came from. So I shall get on with that now. I've put the screws back in here, they were holding the bottom in. I've also replaced the screws that are holding the back in, so we know where those are. Now these are the chassis retaining screws. There we are, you get the general idea of what that's about. That's just holding the actual metalwork of the chassis into the wooden cabinet. I've pulled the knobs off. Now it does say in the service instructions that these knobs are pull off. That's extremely helpful advice to know how a knob fixes, because often they can be very hard to remove. Some knobs have a grub screw that's clear to see. And you just unloosen it and the knob just comes off. In fact, a set of this age, this is an HMV set from the 1930s, all these have grub screws in these knobs. There's a reason that this set doesn't, an electrical reason, which I'll talk about later. But at least I knew they were pull off, and they came off reasonably easily. Each of them also has a felt washer that stops them fouling the face of the cabinet. I'm going to whiz the chassis out now, so bear with me.